¿qué tal? Hello, I am Tony Galvez and this is Road Trip Spain and Portugal, where we help you plan the perfect trip with practical information and insider tips. Today we are heading to the south of Spain to visit one of our true Spanish passions, Cadiz. To help you prepare a perfect trip to Cadiz, we are going to talk in the video about the must-see places and experiences in the city, food, accommodation, how to get to Cadiz, when to visit and how many days to dedicate to the city. We are going to dive into an Andalusian city that has nothing to do with other cities like Cordoba, Granada or Seville, a city with a lot of history, personality and its own character. All the places and experiences that we are going to mention in the video are within the historic center of Cadiz. The first point we want to dwell on is the extraordinary location of Cadiz. The first thing we find amazing about Cadiz is its double peninsular location, and we say double because the city of Cadiz occupies a peninsula joined to the mainland by a narrow arm of the sea, and its historic center in turn also occupies a peninsula within the peninsula, something that is very well appreciated when viewed from above. Throughout history, Cadiz was the target of numerous attacks by English, Dutch and French armies. That is why it was necessary to build fortifications to protect the perimeter of the city. Along this perimeter, you will see the remains of the walls and forts that protected Cadiz. A large model in the Museum of the Cortes, which we will still talk about in this video, allows you to better understand the incredible geography of the city. Its format would be behind the nickname of Tacita de Plata, Little Silver Cup, as Cadiz is known, although there are several other theories that explain the origin of the term. Before getting into the streets of the historic center, let's take a walk around its perimeter, always accompanied by the sea, along which we will find many interesting places. The entry point to the historic center, the great fortification that protects access to the city, is the Puerta de Tierra. Behind the marble obelisks dedicated to San Servando and San Germán, patron saints of Cadiz, stands a defensive construction through which the city was entered. From the Puerta de Tierra, a promenade that always follows the sea allows you to go to meet several outstanding places of Cadiz, such as the Roman Theatre or the Cathedral, which we will visit later. At the end of Cadiz, farthest from the Puerta de Tierra, the traffic of locals with beach chairs indicates that we are arriving at the only urban beach in the center, the popular and emblematic La Caleta. There are other beaches in Cadiz outside the historic center, but none as beloved as La Caleta, a small beach that is crowded with neighbors during the summer months and quite quiet during the rest of the year, or on days when the dreaded levante, a powerful wind that can ruin a day at the beach, blows. The white English-flavored building in the middle of La Caleta is the former Balneario de la Palma, now the headquarters of the Andalusian Center for Subaquatic Archaeology. Next to the beach of La Caleta is the Castillo de Santa Catalina, one of the two castles protecting the beach. It was built on large stones over the sea and protected the beach from attacks coming from the northwest. The fortress has a star-shaped plan and was built in the 17th century, shortly after the attack and sacking of Cadiz by English and Dutch troops in 1596. King Philip II wanted to protect what appeared to be one of the most vulnerable points in the city. As a result, the castle, which is in a good state of preservation, is today a beautiful example of modern-age military architecture. In 1985, the castle was declared a listed building, and today it is a large cultural space with rooms for temporary exhibitions. Cross the bridge that gives access to the fortress and go up the castle wall to contemplate beautiful views. Leaving the castle of Santa Catalina, we are going to follow through a stretch of the promenade around this historic center of Cadiz that we really like, because it contains a few beautiful places and allows you to contemplate the sunset. The Parque Genovés is the largest green area in the historic center of Cadiz. The presence of gardens in the space occupied by the park today is old, dating back to a time when this part of Cadiz was under military control. The current park dates back to 1892, when the gardener Eduardo Genovés y Puig turned the existing park into a real botanical collection. The park, rectangular in format, has a large central avenue and is home to more than 100 species of trees, making the park a true botanical garden. In addition to plant species, you will see sculpture groups that pay homage to important Spanish personalities. One of the most beautiful places in the park is La Gruta, a lake with a small waterfall and a path that allows you to climb to the top. The next stretch of promenade is very nice, leading to the Baluarte de la Candelaria. Take the opportunity to contemplate the views of the Bay of Cadiz. On the other side of the bay, you can see the town of Rota, where there is a large military base. And don't forget to take advantage of the sunset. The Baluarte de la Candelaria was built in 1672 in an absolutely strategic point, defending Cadiz from attacks coming from the west. The bastion was restored in the late 20th century and today has a civic function. Exhibitions and concerts are held there. And past the Baluarte de la Candelaria, we enter one of the most beautiful walks in the center of Cadiz, a stretch known as Alameda de las Hermanas Carvia Bernal first and Alameda Apodaca later. It is a promenade with plants, wonderful trees, don't miss the incredible ficus, the beautiful Church of Carmen and very nice views of the sea. Having completed the tour around the historic center, it is time to penetrate into the center of Cadiz, and to do that, we're going to try to follow a timeline that follows several important moments in the history of the city. Hold on, because the first jump in time is going to be a long one. Cadiz is one of the oldest cities in Europe. There are references to its foundation around the year 1000 before Christ. We're talking about 3000 years of history. Cadiz was an important Phoenician city, and at the Gadir archaeological site in the center of the city, you will discover much more about the founding of the city. The visit consists of two different parts. As soon as you enter the site, a very well done audiovisual is projected to help you understand what you will visit next. Afterwards, you will walk through the site. The visit is done through a system of walkways over the remains. The approximate duration of the visit is 1 hour. The visit is free, but we recommend that you book in advance because the number of visitors is limited. And from the time of the Phoenicians, we jump to the time of the Romans. The Teatro Romano, the Roman theatre of Cadiz, is the most monumental reminder of the city's Roman past. The interpretation center of the Theatrum Balbi, Balbo's theatre, offers an opportunity to go through the remains of the theatre and understand them in their historical context. We have already seen that Gadir, the ancient Cadiz, was founded by Phoenicians. In 206 BC, Gadir became a federated city of Rome, beginning a period of growth and development. The construction of the theatre was ordered in 70 BC. It was abandoned in the 3rd century and centuries later was the base of an Islamic fortress. Excavations in the 20th century led to the rediscovery of the theatre, the oldest in the Iberian Peninsula and the second largest. It is estimated to have had a capacity of more than 10,000 spectators. Part of the theatre is still hidden under the buildings of the Populo neighborhood. The audiovisual resources and the models of the interpretation center allow visitors to understand the dimensions of the theatre and its role in the culture of the time. It is a very interesting visit, and in addition, it is free. The journey in time takes us now to the 18th century, more exactly to the year 1717, when a historical event of great relevance for Cadiz took place. The Casa de Contratación, which was an institution dependent on the Spanish crown, responsible for all trade with America, was moved from Seville to Cadiz. The control of the monopoly of trade with America meant an era of economic growth for Cadiz, and the city's skyline to this day bears witness to that era of splendor in the form of Torres Mirador, lookout towers. The great merchants built towers on top of their palaces and mansions that served to control the arrival of ships to the port of Cadiz. Many towers no longer exist, but Cadiz still has 133 in many different formats, from the simplest to the most elaborate. There are towers everywhere. An absolute must in Cadiz is the tallest tower in the city, the Torre Tavira. During the climb to the top, which is done on foot, you will learn more about the history of Cadiz and the role of the towers in the economic development of the city. On the terrace of the tower, you will be able to contemplate splendid panoramic views of Cadiz, with the right to take a closer look at the different types of towers. And there's a small surprise waiting for you as well. There's a fee to climb the tower, which we feel is an essential attraction in the city. And we want to mention now a second building that is also a witness of the golden age of Cadiz, its cathedral. Actually, it should be clarified that in Cadiz there is an old cathedral, today a parish church, and a new cathedral, one next to the other. The old cathedral, of a lesser interest, was initially built in the 13th century and later rebuilt, especially after it was destroyed during an Anglo-Dutch attack at the end of the 16th century. In the 18th century, goods arriving from America made Cadiz a prosperous place to be. The then cathedral of the city was in a precarious state of preservation, and Cadiz needed a grandiose temple worth the new and splendid times. The construction of the new cathedral began in 1722, a project that mixed traditional Spanish architecture with Italian Baroque influences. The project was modified several times, incorporating the neoclassical style, and the new cathedral was only completed in 1838, when the old cathedral became a parish church. The main facade of the cathedral has two large towers, which contribute to the grandiose appearance of the temple. The dome, hidden behind the facade, stands out for its yellow color provided by the tiles that cover it. The visit to the cathedral, which is paid, includes an audio guide, the entrance to the crypt, and the walk up to the clock tower, from where excellent views of Cadiz are contemplated. It is well worth it. The last leap in time in our walk through Cadiz takes us to 1812, a very important date in the history of Spain because in it was proclaimed the Constitution of 1812, of great importance for being the first Spanish constitution and for being also a very liberal constitution for its time. The constitution was approved in the General Courts that met extraordinarily in Cadiz. The constitution is remembered in several parts of Cadiz. The most spectacular monument is in the center of the Plaza de España. Cadiz also has a Museum of the Cortes, which in addition to presenting many historical materials related to the event, has a large model of Cadiz, which we mentioned at the beginning of the video, which is well worth seeing. Admission to the museum is free. Finally, on the outside walls of the Oratory of San Felipe Neri, where the Constitution was signed, the event is remembered in the form of numerous commemorative plaques. There is a fee to visit the interior of the oratory, which seems to us an attraction of minor interest. Today's Cadiz is the heir to the Cadiz of the Golden Age. Contrary to what happens in other cities of Andalusia, where the Arab legacy is everywhere, in Cadiz it is not seen. When you walk through its streets, you will contemplate buildings, palaces and temples of a more recent era, with a unique and unmistakable flavor. In fact, strolling through the interior of the center of Cadiz, through its neighborhoods, is an excellent idea, from the Populo to the Viña, passing through many places of interest. We still want to talk about several places in Cádiz that you should not miss. The first is its Mercado Central de Abastos, its central market in the heart of Cádiz. It was inaugurated in 1838, and in 2009 it completed its most recent reform, which maintained the original project. The market has more than 100 stalls, and you will be surprised by the extraordinary number of fishmongers, a reflection of the importance of fishing in the history, culture, gastronomy and economy of Cadiz. Take the opportunity to discover species that you did not know and to contemplate the wonderful red tuna in spring and early summer. In addition to the fishmongers, there are fruit, vegetable and meat stalls. Especially interesting are the stalls selling local cheeses. If you like cheese, be sure to buy a payoyo cheese or a cheese from El Bosque. You will not regret it. Part of the market has been transformed into a sort of gourmet area in the style of the Mercado de San Miguel in Madrid, but much cheaper. If you are going to spend some time in the city, the Museum of Cádiz, free to visit for residents of the European Union, has very interesting objects related to the history of Cádiz. And finally, another great monument of the city that you should visit is the beautiful Gran Teatro Falla, which besides being an important theatre is the headquarters of the local carnival contest, an extraordinary event that turns Cádiz once a year into the world capital of the most incredible, creative and rebellious carnival. After walking for so long, it is time to talk about food. There are few cities in Spain where food is so good and so affordable at the same time as in Cádiz. We are going to share tips on some typical dishes you should try and the names of the bars we like the most in Cádiz. One of the most famous and traditional foods of Cádiz are the tortillas de camarones, which are more than 500 years old. They are fried dough made with wheat flour and chickpea, with parsley, chives and shrimp. Not all places will make good tortillas de camarones. Most of the time what you get is a heavy dough where you have to look for the shrimp. Another very typical dish, both in Cádiz and in many other parts of Andalusia, is the cazón en adobo. It is made with marinated and fried dogfish, and it's traditionally served in the city's frying houses and in many bars and restaurants. In addition to dogfish, the frying houses serve other species of fish prepared in a similar way. A dish that we love are the papas aliñas, perfect when the heat arrives. They are boiled potatoes seasoned with onion and parsley and can be served with tuna or many other ingredients. They are served cold. We have just mentioned one of the kings of the local gastronomy, tuna, present in many dishes prepared in Cádiz. Among all types of tuna, the most outstanding is the almadraba tuna, a tuna caught in the waters off the coast of Cádiz using traditional methods. And red tuna is the most sought after species. If you have the opportunity to try any red almadraba tuna dish, do not miss the opportunity. Finally, there is a typical delicacy that I love and Cecilia not so much, which are the ortiguillas, anemones that live in the sea attached to the rocks and are fished by divers. They are prepared fried and are surprising for the contrast of textures and the intense flavor of the sea. And whenever we can, we accompany these delicacies with wines from the province of Cádiz. Let's go with some recommendations of places to eat in Cádiz. In addition to the gourmet market stalls inside the central market, which we have already talked about, we quite like the following places. The restaurant El Faro de Cádiz, a classic in the city where everything is very good good, although the prices are high. The tavern Casa Manteca, so successful among tourists that now has a new location next to the original. Here you must order the chicharrones, thin strips of bacon with seasoning and spices that are incredibly delicious. Casa Manteca's tortillas de camarones are also very good. And yes, it is a very touristy place, but the service and the quality of the food justify the visit. At Casa Lazo we have the red tuna tartar that we showed before, a luxury. We love the little caldos, the broths from Casa Pepe, as well as the ortiguillas, well, the part of this couple that loves them. On previous trips to Cadiz we ate very well at El Laurel, La Sorpresa and El Chicuco, so that's a recommendation too. We also ate at two famous fried fish restaurants in the center, Freiduría Las Flores and Freiduría Europa, but we were not thrilled with the quality of the food at either of them. For your coffee, Cadiz offers a trip down memory lane at the Café Royalty, opened in 1912. Even if you're not going to eat anything, go inside to contemplate its wonderful interior and take the opportunity to have a drink in one of the most beautiful cafes in Spain. If you like sweets, you should know that the Pan de Cádiz, also known as Turrón de Cádiz, is a marzipan dough filled with preserve. And if you feel like a delicious ice cream, there is nothing more traditional than the Salón Italiano, with quality ice cream, by the way, great for a hot day in Cadiz. Let's talk about accommodation. Whenever we visit Cadiz, we always stay in the historic center, which is what we recommend you do as well. All the places we have shown in the video are in the historic center. If you stay outside, you will waste valuable time going back and forth. Accommodation near the train and the bus station has the logistical advantage of not having to walk a lot with your luggage when you arrive in Cadiz, as long as you arrive by train or bus. On our most recent visit to Cadiz, we stayed in a beautiful hotel, the Hotel Convento de Cádiz, which occupies a 17th century convent. Besides being a beautiful hotel, it is in the historic center very close to the train station. And how do we get to Cadiz? Bathed by the Atlantic Ocean, a city located on the southern coast of Spain, in the region of Andalusia. You could reach the city by car, yours or rented, by bus or by train. If you arrive by car, be sure to drive across the incredible 1812 Constitution Bridge, a spectacular work of engineering. Arriving at the center, you will have to look for an underground car park. Parking on the street for free in Cadiz is a feat. If you arrive by train or by bus, the good news is that both the train and bus stations are next to the entrance to the historic center of Cadiz. You could arrive by direct train from Madrid or take a medium-distance train from Seville to Cadiz, which has a station at Jerez Airport on its route. There are bus routes connecting Cadiz with many Andalusian towns and also with the center north of Spain. In the description of the video we will place links so you can check prices and schedules of both trains and buses to Cadiz, as well as links to all the tourist attractions mentioned throughout the video. If you want to include Cadiz in your route through Spain, Seville is the city that will work best as a connecting point. Let's see now what would be the best time to visit Cadiz. Although, in theory, it is possible to visit Cadiz all year round, it is important to pay attention to two important moments. The carnival, because Cadiz has the most famous carnival in the Iberian Peninsula and the city is packed during the period. Hotel prices skyrocket. And July and August. Cadiz is the preferred summer destination for many Spaniards, not so much the city as the coast of the province, but accommodation prices end up rising again also in the city. Our favorite times of the year to visit Cadiz are spring, especially May and June, and late summer and early autumn, September and October. The days are long, the temperatures are pleasant, and you will enjoy Cadiz to the fullest. If you have a choice, June and September would be the perfect months. How much time would we spend in Cadiz? Some people think of Cadiz as a day trip from Seville. It is fast-paced but doable. But it would be a shame to miss the end of the day in the city, so we recommend that you sleep at least the one night in Cadiz. And before ending this video, we have to talk about what for us makes Cadiz guide for the initiated something extraordinary, which is its people. We don't like cliches, but our experience whenever we visit Cadiz is that we find the nicest and most pleasant people we have ever met in Spain. And that's in spite of the fact that the people of Cadiz don't have an easy life for many reasons to celebrate. But the character of the people of Cadiz is simply extraordinary, and for them goes from our heart our thanks before the end of the video. Did you like Cadiz? Do you want more? We hope to talk in the future about its carnival, of which we are big fans. In the meantime, you will see on the screen that we are going to set course to another absolutely amazing destination in Andalusia. We look forward to seeing you in that video.